Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Allan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. This is Allan Molina, your host of Purpose Driven Finances and president of Serwus Capital Management. Oh, how are you doing this weekend? Have you started mowing your grass, trimming your trees? I'm sitting here with my favorite co-host, Rich Roth. How you doing, my friend?
I'm your only co-host.
Hey, I've had other people.
I know,
and
they were guest co-hosts.
Exactly. You're the main co-host, and I really appreciate you. You've helped make this show a success. Even in the past week, the past 2 weeks, gotten 3 or 4 calls, and just from the show, just saying, hey, let's chat. So I appreciate that, folks. If you want to call me, 434-316-0246, or go to my website, servuscm.com. Rich, this weekend, Saturday, I never thought I would ever do this. I'm washing my house.
You're washing your house?
Yeah.
Like pressure washing?
Well, you can do that, but it's also
little bath, shower, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. A little rub-a-dub-dub, get some soap in the tub. No, what you basically do is you get the grime on your house, and it builds up, and you spray it, because my house looks like it faded a little bit, but the biggest issue is it just needs to be washed. And so it's basically not quite a pressure washer. It's basically a thing you put on the hose, and it shoots it up 25 feet. I figure that should be able to get everything clean. And I've used it before, and it works really good.
Well, good.
And then I'm cleaning windows. You want to come help?
Nope. Nope, I've got plenty of my own yard work to do.
Yes, sir. No kidding. My son was like, hey, Dad, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this, and this. You want to help? I just LOL'd. I'm like, dude, I got all kinds of stuff I got to do, too.
That's when you're like, no, son, but you know what you're going to help me with?
Right.
That's what I told my son today. Got to start cleaning up the yard. Get all the sticks up. Got to mow. Get all the sticks up.
Talk about getting sticks in my old house. We couldn't burn them for 2 years in a row. So, the second year, because of all the rain and all this other stuff. So it was a big old pile of sticks. We live basically in the midst of big trees. 2 railroad ties on there full of creosote. I threw some oil on there and some gas, and then threw a smoke bomb on it. No joke, man. The flames were 60 feet up in the air.
Oh, my goodness. 60 feet.
I freaked out. My water pressure, because I got a kink in the hose, it went, I had no water pressure, and I was like, we're toast. And it actually burned my ankle. And I called the rescue squad, and they came there, and they're like, well, it looks like the fire's out. It burned so quick. You want us to call? And I said, nah, it's all right. So I understand taking care of those sticks.
Yeah, 'tis the season, spring cleaning indoors and outdoors.
It is. So, folks, what we're doing is today we're talking about a 30-something family. And when I mean family is it could be you and your significant other. It could be just you by yourself. It could be, you thinking of your grandkids, your children. But just think of a 30-something family. And there's things that we're going to talk to that apply to everybody. Last week we talked about a 50-year-old family. Next week we're going to be talking about someone who's in retirement.
Okay. Late
60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. And so what I thought we would do is let's tee it up. What does a 30-something family look like? I don't know if you can remember back that far, Rich. What was that, 10 years ago? You're looking mighty spry.
Yeah, oh yeah, 10 years. Yep.
Yep. But a young family. I was thinking about what the emotions you go through. But first of all, you someone in their 30s, you're probably in a stable career, maybe second or third place you've been hired. You've been saving for retirement, or you're just getting to it. Because a lot of times in your 20s, you're like, hey, I just want to live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of the 20-year-olds, some things, if they don't go to college, they travel across in a bus or whatever. It's kind of exciting.
Well, and then a lot of other people have all that student loan debt that may not have been forgiven yet.
Exactly, the $23.5 billion or some ridiculous number. But it's okay. That's just, well, we won't go there. So you're saving for retirement and just getting to it, and you're also very concerned about stuff. Because I was thinking, getting ready for the show, what it was as being a young dad. I don't know about you, Rich, but my blueprint for what to do as a dad just wasn't there. I had no earthly idea. Basically, I took everything my biological and adopted dad did and did the opposite. That was my blueprint. So I didn't, there was so much I didn't know. And then you read all these books about, negotiating with your kids and talking to a 2-year-old about in half an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours later, they're still talking about it and they have no idea what's going on. That kind of parenting, or the kind of parenting where, helicopter parents, or when I had, kids in preschool, in elementary school, the biggest thing among parents was we don't want our kids to cry or to feel pain. And I think pain is a process that actually helps you. Maybe I'm just a bad dad, but it got 3 young men that have done well.
Well, no, I mean, it's the learning experience, right? I mean, that's how you learn.
It is.
And we've talked about it on this show, but, failure's not the worst thing in the world.
It isn't.
I mean, it makes you stronger. You learn from it. You grow from it.
Right.
If everything always goes smoothly, what do you learn?
Nothing. I mean, when's the last time you had a victory and you actually analyzed it and learned something from it? Most of the time, not.
Right.
And so for you families out there in your 30s, it may be even your late 20s, because some people, they get out of high school, maybe into college, boom, they start having babies.
And this advice, I mean, for people who have kids who could be in their 30s and with grandkids.
Right, exactly.
Right? So, I mean, you may have people who are in the 30s and the situation applies.
Exactly. That's good. So first of all, great job being in your 30s. Great job having a good job and thinking about these things and wanting to be the best parent, the best person, the best son or daughter that you can be. And just good job, taking care of the family. And remember, when I say family, it could be you have 12 kids, or it could be just you, and so good job on where you're at and the passion that you have in order to make the best life going forward. Now, Rich, the other thing I was thinking about is as a 30-something, what are some of the fears or concerns that a 30-something would have? One of the things I thought about is, if you got married about 26 and you finally had kids and you're 32, 35, your kids are just starting to hit that time frame of going to school. What kind of school are you going to do? Homeschool, public school, private school?
Yeah, I think that's a much bigger issue nowadays.
It is.
Right? I mean, after COVID and after we started to find out what's actually being taught in public schools, we saw lots of people fleeing to private schools or homeschools. And, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I mean, it used to just be, you sent your kid to your local public school and that was kind of the end of it. But, now we're realizing that, different schools have different benefits for different kids. And one kid may be great at one school, but that's not the right fit for another kid. And it's really important to be in an environment where they enjoy being there, right? Because if you hate school, you got no chance of learning.
Nope.
I mean, you need to put them in an environment where, they enjoy it, they're receptive to learning.
Exactly.
I mean, that's important,
right? And if you're worried about getting beat up,
yeah,
that's a huge issue, and how the schools take care of it. But also, I was thinking about taking care of your parents. When you're in your 30s and your parents are hitting 60, 65, if your parents had you late, they could be hitting 70.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the lifestyle and the genetics, some people have issues, health issues, and mental issues from, Alzheimer's and things like that in their 60s and 70s. So that's on some people's mindset. I can remember, I'm trying to think back, my mom, I think, died 2012, something like that. So that was 12 years ago. So I was just getting out of my 30s and having to deal with, and I don't mean that deal with as a negative, but, she had lung cancer that metastasized, and I had to help her for a 9-month period down in Roanoke, going down there every week. Also, I was thinking, you already brought up education loans. I'm a loss for words there. And the reason being is the inequity. If you have someone paying for 15 years and they just paid them off, are you going to give them a refund?
Right. I mean, and all of us who paid off all our student loans back in the day. And then, even if you do pay them off, it's basically the taxpayers. It's you and I now. Mm-hmm. We paid for our school. Now we have to pay for someone else's school too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
no bueno, man.
Nope.
No bueno.
And then looking at the cost for food and utilities and kids growing up. When your boys left the house, I don't know if you're this kind of guy. I am. When my oldest boy left the house, I actually monitored how much water was used. When he left, it dropped like about 25%. My electrical bill for my house, it has dropped from like $250 to $275 to about $200 a month.
Wow.
And the propane that I use for the hot water, it dropped significantly. And so, looking at the cost of food, utilities, because as you have a lot of kids, they go through all kinds of stuff, and as kids get older, they eat more, and they eat more, and they eat more. And, what happens if you get a kid who, I want it all organic, grown on the eastern hills and picked by a guy named Fred, only when the moon is in full.
That's when you say, here's a shovel, here's a hoe.
Right. Right. Here's some seeds, baby.
You go on out.
Right. Exactly.
Knock yourself out.
But also, looking at, you have one kid, 2 kids, and you're looking at getting a bigger car.
Yeah.
It gets more expensive. Rabbit trail alert. Did you hear what GMC did with their OnStar data?
No.
I believe they sent it to LexisNexis, which is a data aggregator.
Mm-hmm.
LexisNexis then turned around and sold that data to insurance companies.
Oh, jeez.
And insurance companies then raised the insurance for the drivers because they had the VIN and had all the data of the speeds, the sharp turns, and the hard braking. I'm like, give me a 1967 something that doesn't have OnStar.
Wow.
And so, but you know what they'll say? Hey, you click the button that said, I agree. I thought that was interesting. So, now the other thing is you can't live by fear. We got 5 minutes to wrap up this segment. Now, Rich, have you ever heard of Zach Williams?
I haven't. Is he? And I'm reading your notes here.
Yeah.
So he's a singer.
He's a singer. He's country.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not a country guy.
Yeah. But the song is called "Fear Is a Liar."
Okay.
It's a good song, and just a few quick lines. When you're, I don't know why I said it like that. When you're told you're not good enough, you'll never be enough. I'll also add in there, you'll never have enough. Because as a young dad, I remember facing, I got to work harder. I got to get more money because my kids want this. They want this experience. I don't want to tell them no.
I remember, one of my first jobs, sitting there and there was, one of the bosses and, found a pay stub or something and saw that he was making $50,000 a year. And you're sitting there going, man, if I could make $50,000 a year, I'd be set.
Right.
then you get to the point where you're making that and you're not set. You're not. And then it's, I need to make this. I need to make this. I need to make that. And the more you make, it doesn't help. And it's just, so I get that, you'll never have enough, and that's kind of the reality. When I get to this point, I'll be good. And then you're not good.
Exactly. But the song goes on to say, fear, he's a liar. He will rob you of your rest and he'll steal your happiness. It's so true.
That's uplifting. What an uplifting message here on a Saturday morning.
Hey, but seriously, think about it. When you are a dad or a mom and you're trying to take care of your family, you're stressed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, retirement? What the heck are you talking about? Saving for my kids' education? What are you talking about? With 21% inflation over the past 2.5 years? What are you talking about? And so really what I want to do is, here's the application. First of all, fear as a young parent can be huge. And you look at your precious family and sometimes you freak out. Like, man, I want to help my daughter, my son. I want to do this. I want to get my kid a coach at 8 years old. He loves whatever. And you're like, but I can't do it. And you try to squeeze as much as you can out of your budget, but, pennies don't bleed, And so let me give you an example. As a family, we like to go to Myrtle Beach, Cherry Grove Pier. Pam caught a 4-foot hammerhead off of the pier.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
All the people went around her. It was pretty cool. I've seen 5-foot sharks caught off the pier. But yet I've gone swimming in the water where the water was over my head. What was I thinking? I didn't freak out. I didn't think about the sharks. Because if there's a 4-foot hammerhead, there's probably one a little bit bigger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what happens is, if I'm gripped by fear, it causes me not to actually plan. It causes me not to look at investments. It causes me not to go out there and get ready in order to take care of my future needs. So here's what you can do: is if you have fear over money and investments, let's say you've saved up $50,000 in your retirement plan, and you're like, what should I do? How should I manage it? What you need to do is always take advantage of the company match. Always do that. Then what you also need to do is take the kids and teach them how to save. A couple ideas. And in your retirement account, you don't have a lot of money to manage your stocks and bonds and all that. Use a target date fund in your 403b, 401k, 457. But also what I would do is I would get your kids to have a savings account and then open them up an account somewhere and buy them like a share of McDonald's, something they like, or a share of something. And that
NVIDIA?
It could be NVIDIA. I've done that. I've done that for my kids. And they were like, why did it go down? That happens. It'll probably come up. Oh, okay. But then also in your personal savings, have a 2-tier system, or really a 3-tier system. Cash and cash-like investments. Have a medium time frame of 3 to 5 years, and then a portfolio of 5 years plus, because that's how really wealth is created. And then finally, work with somebody that has a buy and sell process to get you out of investments. Because I tell you, Rich, I know I haven't done a market update, but some things aren't looking too good. Look at Apple, with the new Department of Justice lawsuit coming.
Well, and I saw some interesting numbers come out yesterday, too. And I know, I'm like, is Allan going to be talking about those on Saturday?
Right. I decided to, try to be more helping people. So, folks, we're going to go to a minute break, and we're going to have about 9 minutes left. Give me a call at 434-316-0246, talking about what it's like to manage a family, and I'll talk to you on the flip side.
I have a solve for that. It's what he does. Tommy Parmenter is the woodsman. His tree removal company handles all jobs. Other tree companies call on him for his tree climbing experience and expertise for the most complex removals. The Woodsman is a veteran-owned and operated company.
That's right. My team and I are top-notch. We can handle the scariest tree job you got. We're properly equipped and more than capable. I'm Tommy, the Woodsman.
And his estimates are your final price. The website is IHaveASolveForThat.com. IHaveASolveForThat.com.
It's Brian Kilmeade.
That's something Democrats can learn from. You got to make sure they say, I have nothing to do with Joe Biden. I don't agree with any of his policies. I don't want to defund ICE. I want to give more money to ICE. That is everything that Democratic parties have been against and refuse to talk about it. When the Republicans go down to do anything at the border, outside Henry Cuellar, you get nobody making that trip. But they have changed. The problem is they have no credibility.
The Brian Kilmeade Show, weekday mornings from 9 to noon on WLNI. And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Allan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning again. Hope you took that 1 minute to get you a refill of your favorite morning beverage. Give me a call at 434-316-0246. And looking forward to help you. Now, I tried to lay the groundwork for a 30-something family individual that of what they should do. And I quickly hit it on the end because I always talk about so many things so long, but it's an easy process, and I want to help you achieve that. Now let's do some financial planning, and because realistically,
and we're sticking with 30-year-olds.
Yeah,
here?
30,
Okay.
it's the 30-year-olds.
30-year-old plus, whatever family.
Exactly.
What should they be doing for financial planning?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rich. First of all, talk about where you want your kids to go for an education, because everybody has to be on the same page. Because I can remember my wife, we actually lived at Smith Mountain Lake, an hour away.
Mm-hmm.
My wife prayed before we had kids that she would send her kids to Lynchburg or Liberty Christian Academy. We didn't have any kids, and we didn't even live in Lynchburg.
Mm.
And we both had to get on the same page because she was a stay-at-home mom once we had kids. So I had to earn the $500-600 a month for one kid, all the way up to like $1,800 for 3 kids per month. And so we had to be on the same page. And there's some families out there who all I can afford is public schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, make sure you monitor your kids' education and don't turn your kids over and say, let the educational system do what they do. You need to actually monitor it and be an active, whether it's homeschool, private school, or homeschooling. And if you're on the same page, then you can actually plan. What kind of vacations do you want? Have you ever been out with a couple and it was like sometimes oil and water?
Yeah, of course.
The husband is like, I want to go to the mountains and drop fly fish, and the wife is like, no, I want to do a cruise with Disney, and you're like,
yeah,
come on now, you got to get together. And so when I sit down with folks, families or individuals, what's amazing to me is a lot of individuals don't lay these things out. I'm a bad planner. I told my wife last night, I said, isn't it nice that I'm planning on what I need to buy for Saturday to clean the house? She was amazed. I'm learning.
You're
I'm
getting there.
I'm getting there. But what kind of vacations you want? I mean, where do you want to go? Experiences. And then what do the vacations look like?
Mm.
Because sometimes one of the people that of the significant others wanted to go to a homestead type of resort. The other was like Motel 8. Or
6.
Oh, is it Motel 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only stayed at it one time. My wife got a migraine.
That was enough?
That was enough. Not going there again. Then, when do you change homes? I don't know if you folks heard, but there's a huge settlement on Friday about real estate agents. And it's going to be interesting how it's going to shake up the market. But when do you change homes? Is it after 2 years? Or are you going to renovate the house to build more equity to buy a bigger home? When to change? Where are you going to be? These are some of the types of things that need to be communicated, A, to your financial advisor, but also together. What about your parents? Because when you're in your 30s, your parents are getting along that age to where sometimes they need help, sometimes they don't. My goal is, I've already told you, I'm praying for 120, but to be a quality life, not just
there.
Wipe the drool off my chin. Not that kind of guy. But figure out that. And so here's some steps that you need to make. First of all, if you're uncomfortable talking together about these, give me a call. Call me, 434-316-0246. And then let's meet and discuss these things, your fears, your goals, your needs. And if you do that, what ends up happening is I like exposing fears. And the reason I like to expose fears is it removes their power. I don't know if you had any kids that went through night terrors or sleepwalking or scared of whatever. I think we did a little bit. And the nice thing is to take a flashlight and shine it under the bed. See, there's no monster. Go in the closet. There's no monster here. And then they say, well, it comes up during the night when it's all dark. So you sit in the room with a flashlight, and they start getting freaked out, and then you shine the light and you say, see, there's no monster. And so when you communicate about your fears and your goals and your needs, you remove the stigma and the power it has over you. Then you need to determine a strategy. Rich, so many people, they do not have a 3-tier system of their savings. They have the emergency fund,
Mm-hmm.
but then they don't think about a medium term and then a long-term savings outside of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say you have $1,000, $1,500 in emergency savings. Medium would be any type of goal you have over the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
And then long-term goal would be past 5 years. So let's say you plan on going to
So that'd be like a new kitchen.
A new kitchen?
At some point in the next 10 years, we
Right.
need to redo our kitchen.
Exactly. So start saving now for it.
Yeah.
And, we use Charles Schwab as the custodian. They don't charge any money for accounts. So why not have 10 accounts and systematically put a little bit in there every month? You're going to St. Andrews next year, man.
I am.
Sweet. Let's put it in the budget of James River Media.
Thanks, Sir Woos.
And
no.
Well, James River Media can take care of it. You guys are so successful. And so if you put it in the budget and you start planning out the airfare and everything now, 18 months from now, you put away $200, you have a nice little chunk of change in order to go towards your trip. And then if you even get 5% on that, that's a good thing. And then, implement it over time. Because if you, as a family, want to do all this all of a sudden, it's going to shock the system and it's not going to work. So what you do is you do it systematically, but also gradually. It's Rich, you ever been on a diet?
Mm-hmm.
Can't stand them. And all a diet is the way you're going to eat. If you shift from, no sodas, no sugar, none of this, and somebody's calling me. All right. And
gotta mute that, man.
I do. Sorry about that, folks. But implement it over time. And finally, actually do it. Actually do it. I'm getting all kinds of notifications.
Can't they wait one more minute? That's
No
all
kidding.
that's left in the show.
What the heck? Actually do it. Sit down with your family, but also come sit with me. I'm willing to be that neutral party that says, hey, let's put a plan together. Let's talk about our needs, our desires, our wishes.
And you don't charge for that, do you?
I don't. Simply because I want to earn people's business. Have I gotten taken advantage of? A few times. But generally, just be upfront. Allan, we're just using you. Just be upfront. Take me out to dinner. Allan, we're just using you.
At least put some food in your belly.
Exactly, And I'm here to serve. So, folks, give me a call at 434-316-0246 or my website, servuscm.com. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll let you know how the house clean comes up.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.